Welcome everybody to another episode of the He's on Fire podcast after dark show. I am one of your hosts tonight, Jay Joyce, and before I get uh, any further into this podcast, with me as always, Amit. Amit, how you doing, dude? What's going on in your life? Just how are things?
Things are just it's the summer, man. Things are busy, even though it's the
So busy.
summer. And I'm my company, the company I work with, we're neutral, but in the position of like the writer's strike and the actor strike, like it's really impacting our company. We had layoffs. There's probably gonna be furloughs coming. So yeah, man, it's just a weird time, man. It's just a lot more stressful than I thought it would be. But it's probably not as bad as the heat that you guys are dealing with out there.
Dude, it's like 119 and we're getting some of that humidity too, like that thick
Yeah.
humidity. So it's been rough the last 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I
Tucson's getting
know.
on the rain right now.
I know that because I was out there 2 weeks ago dropping off my son. My son is staying with my parents, and he's going to camp with some of his cousins and stuff. And like I remember I was out there and it was just like, man, dude, we were sitting outside the airport in the shade. And like, I mean, I'm used to the heat, but my son was just like, "Dope, man, I need to go in the pool right now." And I was like, "All right, man." But yeah, no, I know it's tough. I hope everyone out there's got AC and they're doing something to stay cool.
Yeah, it's like been like rough for work for me because I work outside and I've just been going through uniforms and all my
Yeah,
I've been doing a fuck ton of laundry just
yeah.
recently. So but it's glad to talk to you again before we get into the movie reviews of Oppenheimer and Barbie. I'm the only one here that's seen Barbie, and I'll address a little bit of it. But let's talk about some Arizona sports stuff that's happened in the last couple of weeks. I had a Suns talk just last week talking about campaign being traded and the whole Bull thing, and I was on the Suns Jam Session podcast, and I talked about some of that there. But with we haven't talked about the Bull thing and the campaign situation, and
Yeah.
even more DA stuff because DA was talking to uh, uh, like a reporter from the Bahamas, and he was saying he feels like nobody likes him, or like in a sense of like he feels like everybody hates him, and he talked about all of that and stuff. With all of this stuff going around with the Suns right now, what has been your perspective recently?
I mean, every move that the team has made so far has just been pretty much like the ideal move. They could only sign so many players because they had to sign minimum players. The Eric Gordon deal was awesome. I mean, um, I think trading campaign did him a favor going into his contract year to get an opportunity to play somewhere because realistically, he wasn't going to really play that much with this team. And if he didn't play
Yeah,
well and it was inconsistent, he wasn't going to play at all. So, like, it's better for him to go to a team where, him making mistakes isn't like the magnitude of it would be on a team that's like, trying to build towards a championship. So, you know, it's tough because he's a great vibes guy, and we don't really have too many vibes guys left now. I mean, Da is probably the only vibes guy left, and shout out to Da, happy birthday, bro. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's tough because the problem is like we as Suns fans we watch every game, and then when we see in the playoffs the magnitude when it's amplified when they make mistakes or when they're just inconsistent, like we're probably the only fan base. Like if you talk to like a Nets fan base or a Philly fan base or a Clippers fan base, they would take back Shamit in a second, right?
hmm
But like we were like, no, get him the fuck out of here. Like we didn't want anything to do with that guy. We still don't. And but like those fan bases didn't. I don't think they like watched it at the level of detail that we did, where we're just like, dude, he might be a good player, but he doesn't work here. And if he hasn't worked here in like 4 or 5 teams now, like, maybe he's just really inconsistent.
hmm
But yeah, in terms of like the Suns, I mean, yeah, I can't wait till we start playing games because everyone's just,
right, yeah,
has too many opinions about Beal book playing point guard, or we don't have enough depth, or there was somebody that posted something about us being like a play-in team. I'm like,
Yeah.
sure, yeah, it's possible, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, like the conversations have been so muffled around the Phoenix Suns since the off seasons began, even before free agency and all that. Um, where I sit with the Suns is, man, I can't wait for the season to start, or just
Yeah,
preseason in general. I'm so excited to watch all these new guys that I know for a fact can be impactful, and all these guys underneath Frank Vogel defensive scheme and a Kevin Young offensive minded sort of game plan. I'm really excited to see what this team can fulfill to be. And with this Bull signing, what I said on the Suns Jam session was it's a low risk, high reward sort of thing. I mean, like everybody is either very high or very low on Bull and his skill set. And if what Vogel loves more than anything is centers. So if he can channel something in not only DA, but Bull and even possibly Eubanks being a solid big man rotation, that's going to be huge for this team with not only picking up the boards and being defensive anchors and being able to be interchangeable with no matter what we throw out there is going to be really huge. But I think the discourse around the point guard position to open up the game is really stupid.
yeah,
Like the last five champions haven't had a traditional point guard. It's supposed to be point of attack defenders or shooting guards that just transitioned into the point guard position, but somebody else is facilitating the point guard duties like Jokic or Draymond or something in that sort. Drew Holiday, he's a point of attack sort of point guard. He's not your traditional point guard. And to see this different mindset and uh, just game plan going forward, if Beal or Book are going to be the point guards, it really doesn't matter to me. I think it's going to work regardless. And man, I just can't wait to see what this
yeah.
team can be.
I
I feel
mean,
like we're going to be fucking scary.
I think we're gonna be really, really scary, and like I think it's yeah, they're gonna probably lose some games that they shouldn't lose, and there's gonna be guys missing games and whatever happens, right? But either way, like when they get it all together, it's because here's the thing, like Devin Booker to where he's ascended to now, he doesn't need a point guard. This guy, he doesn't need someone to get him the ball to get two screens and get open. He doesn't need screens to do all that. That's more of like just to throw around the defense, create decoys, and then create opportunities for other people. He doesn't need that anymore. Since like even in Chris Paul's first year, I mean, yeah, he needed it then, but like since then, like he hasn't really needed a point guard. Bradley Beal played with John Wall. He became the point guard. He doesn't need a point guard. KD, he played with Stephen Westbrook. Like he never had a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we talking? Like it's gonna work. Offensively, 1000% it's gonna work. Defensively, and it really. I mean, here it comes down to Ayton. Like, does he want to be the fourth option or the fifth? You know what I mean?
What's been kind of annoying me, and you've probably seen it too, is like Richard Jefferson talks about the whole Aiden situation. Like they're paying him max money to be a Clint Capella. Like, why is that so bad? He snatches 20 boards a game, and his defense is stellar. Like, I don't see what the issue is. Like,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
like,
it's just like, and a lot of it came down to the coach. We know this now that the coaching was the problem, right? Like he wasn't bought in, and he felt undervalued, and now he's with the coach that values him tremendously defensively. We'll see how he values him offensively, but yeah, like that's what I'm trying to like Clint Capella doesn't have a jump hook like Ayton. Ayton has a money hook. Like he's got
yeah,
that. Like anytime you need it, you can go to that. The two things that he can't do is consistently bring effort and dribble the ball. Like or like even third, like really he doesn't really know how to be patient in the post. It's just like jab step shot, jump hook, catch a rebound, okay, pass it. Like he doesn't have enough like savvy to figure out, okay, like let me just spend one more second here, see what the defense is going to do, and then I have the confidence to shoot over them, right? So like if Clint Capella is not even in that realm of discussion of doing those types of things, right? Like he's just rim runner, block shots, shoot within 5 feet. That's all he does. He doesn't have an elbow jumper. He can't stretch a three. He can't dribble either. So like, I'm whatever, man. Like they just gotta say something in the summertime because they got nothing else to talk about anyways.
Right. Like even with DeAndre Ayton in a reduced role to start this last season, he still put up 18 to 10. And so
with like true shooting of like 56% or something like that.
right, yeah. So like I know the offense is going to be there. It's just like his defense like fell off a cliff to start the season and it never really recovered. So I think as long as we give him a solid four to pair alongside of him, like Kata Bates, and they're on the same page, I think the rim protecting and defense within the interior is just going to flourish by itself. And when it comes to the rim protecting and switching, and that's a good point that you bring up with his patience level when he has the ball down down at the block. He does kind of play like he has like the last couple of seconds on the shot clock to get it up. And if he just drag out the time a bit, kind of caught him, get the defender slipping a bit, he can probably be at the line a little bit more. Or yeah. But yeah, that's a very good point. But with DeAndre Ayton, I really feel like he's going to be really good this year, and I feel like he needs to be, even if he wants to leave or if he wants to stay, because like kind of this season determines like what his NBA career is going to.
Yeah, I mean he's got till February. He's got till February to show that he's committed to this thing, and then. He can. All he has to do is play hard through the season, and then he can. If we win a championship, I think that would be the best opportunity for him to be like, "Hey, I want to be traded, right? I want to go somewhere where I can play." Fine, we can do that trade. We can get the assets back. We can make it work because I think the whole roster is going to be different anyways. I'm fine with that if that's what it takes, But I would love to see him and Booker just win a championship together and just continually doing that. You talked about Bol. Let me just talk about that guy real quick.
Yeah.
I see it, and I love the fact that he's Manu Bol's son, and that's so cool to me because I remember watching like Manu Bol was like when I used to watch basketball. Like when I started watching basketball, it was like one of those things where I was mesmerized by this dude that's like 7'8", and like he had that whole, and he would take threes too. Like he would dribble, he would do all these things that like you would never see a regular big man do, but the dude doing it at that height was crazy. And, I don't think his son, like we'll see what he develops into, but everyone's got their hopes up on this guy because of his potential. Honestly, if he even plays for us, I'll be surprised. Like I think he's going to be playing garbage time. I don't think he's going to play any meaningful minutes. I think it's going to be like who's a good person that we thought was going to play. I guess maybe like a Jalen Smith. I don't know. Like it's not a fair comparison, but like, you know what I mean? Like just somebody that we thought would like contribute and never did. And, I think we're going to see that unless he has some sort of defensive proclivity that like Frank Vogel sees and says, okay, I need this guy for a few minutes here or there. The way that Biyombo would just come in and just play randomly, not just in a backup role. So that's all I want to say about him. Cause I know you mentioned it. So I just want to bring it up real quick.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like, ironically, like if Vogel really channels and unlocks certain aspects in Bobo's game, like we can use him in a small ball five in a sense. I mean, he's versatile. His perimeter defense is really bad. It's like statistically one of the worst in the league.
Really bad.
Yeah, so I think I'm really interested to see what we're able to do with him. I'm hoping the best, and we're talking like about like the 13th to 15th guy on the bench. I just hope he learns and takes advantage of it because he's playing alongside three of the best players in the league currently, and one of the best centers in the league too. So don't let recency bias kick in. But I did see a tweet from a guy. So have you been keeping up with the whole uniform thing that's happening?
Uh, I've been seeing a little bit. I saw some of the mock-ups. I'm honestly like they're just like retreads of like the Sunburst jersey, right? Like it's not like
Yeah.
a yeah. So I mean, I know that like if I heard that it's progressing towards something like that, but it'd be really, really dumb to go away from the Sunburst jersey if you don't do the black jersey. If you don't do the black jersey, like what are we doing?
Hmm.
Like seriously, what are we doing?
I think it's coming. I really do. If it's not this season with the city or statement or whatever,
Yeah,
like I think it will be next year. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick. Hang on.
yeah.
But so like a few weeks ago, uh, people that had season tickets the season before got an email saying that there was going to be a event, not to bring your cell phone or anything like that. It's a private event, yada yada yada. And so people were assuming it was the whole uniform thing, and it looks to be that way. So you see it on your end.
Yeah, I see it. I just like the regular one. I like what we got already. Like I don't like that.
You don't like this one?
If we replace the other one,
Like these are replacing our current white one and uh,
okay,
our
so
current purple one.
we keep the purple sunburst jersey still. With
No.
the
We only had a 1 year with the Mitchell and Ness for the
oh, okay.
throwback, but we
Yeah, no,
keep the black statement.
I mean, dude, like I run into Lakers fans on the street when I'm wearing my Booker Sunburst jersey. I see people everywhere, and everybody says that that Sunburst jersey is the best basketball jersey ever made. Like these are people just coming up to me on the street when I'm wearing this jersey.
Mm,
I see random people wearing a Barkley Sunburst jersey like around. Like I saw a guy in my pool the other day wearing it. It's like that jersey is perfect.
it is.
Like I just want to I don't want to stop. I'm literally wearing the shorts right now. Like I got the shorts on.
Oh,
Like
nice.
like that it's my every time I look at these shorts I'm like, dude, these are so cool. Like every time I
Mm.
look at them. And I just like I don't want to why would I change that? I don't want to change that.
Yeah, I wish we can keep the purple throwbacks, and I think the next throwbacks will be the black ones. And if the Suns do that with the black sunburst, man. But
Yeah.
to keep the sunburst around in the organization and to have it as a regular rotation thing, I think it's really cool. It's modernized. I like the white ball. Like obviously, it doesn't beat like the orange ball, but I think this is a very slick, clean look. I think it's a mix between the last two uniform rotations that we've had, and I think it kind of, uh,
Okay.
I
And
think it
you know
hits
what it is?
everything that it needs to.
I figured out why I don't like this. Because this is reminds me of like the 2013 to 2015 16 Suns where they used to have the Suns just
Mm,
in that logo and they
yeah,
fucking sucked and they had the long sleeve jersey
yeah,
too.
okay.
Like I don't that's what it's reminding me of. And I'm just like it's just giving me like it's triggering me. Like I can't I don't want to see that.
No, I totally get that. I didn't like that jersey rotation either, but
Yeah.
but I do
No,
really
but I'm
like
not even talking about
these
just the jersey. I'm talking about how bad the team was. Like it
uh,
just triggers me to like how bad that team was with
for
those
sure.
letters. You know what I mean? With that font.
We need to go back to the original look. Or the, hey,
That's
I
another
want to
one.
too. I want to too. Like,
Let's go back to
but
the Wild Wild West.
the
That
Wild
that
Wild
old
West.
school
No.
that white jersey is like that's another like perfect jersey. That white one with
Mm,
the old school lettering. Yeah, I
yeah.
would do the purple one's great too. They could do a remix and do like an orange version of that too, which would be cool.
Hmm.
Um, like a Jordan version of that. But yeah, for sure I mean, dude, we have some of the best jerseys. You know, when you think about it, like iconic jerseys, like oh, like a lot of teams maybe have one or two, but we got we have the Wild Wild West ones and the Sunburst ones, those two by themselves, like, and the color variations, just they there's so many cool things about all those.
Unpopular opinion. You remember those gray sleeve ones?
Yeah.
I actually really like those.
Okay. I like the color. Hey, listen, if they
The
did it
color
as a
was
jersey,
nice. Yeah.
it'd be sick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With the sleeves, anything with the sleeves. Why did they even
Yeah.
do that? That was so dumb.
It was that was definitely an era, Like, yeah, if they would have just made it into a jersey, like it would have been. I don't think it would have gotten as much hate as it did. I think it's the fact that it was a sleeve jersey, kind of
Yeah,
threw everybody off. Oh,
yeah.
sorry, but uh, some people were saying at the promotional thing after seeing the jersey rotation and the promotional stuff that DeAndre Ayton is he's in a lot of the promotional photos of it and stuff, which is really cool. So I think they're really implementing him more and more into like, oh, he's going to stay. So that's just more
Well,
reassurance.
I mean, yeah, but they did that with Kelly Oubre rocking the Valley jersey.
I know that's fucked up. That was under the Sarver regime. Okay.
Yeah.
that,
So
that
yeah,
was
you're right.
fucked
You're
up.
right. Different regime. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I mean, uh, yeah,
Uh,
man, we need those. I forgot about that's another like iconic jersey, the Valley jersey.
even Suns haters were like, "No, that fucking jersey's clean."
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
that's what I'm saying.
Our jersey department. I mean, they eat for like pretty consistently. Like a lot of people were shitting on those turquoise ones, but once we saw them like on the court, on the
Oh
players,
man,
yeah, it was clean.
dude, I remember I was watching that game with like I think it was like my sister-in-law or something, and she's like, "What are those jerseys? Like those are really cool." Like she doesn't even know anything about basketball, and she was just like, "Those are really freaking cool looking."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, now I'm thinking about like that's like 5 jerseys right there that like
We just
that should
named.
go in the Hall of Fame. We got
You're right.
5 Hall of Fame jerseys.
Yeah. But I'm glad we're keeping the black statement. These new jerseys are cool. I'm really excited to see what our city is. But it sounds like they're going to announce these jerseys on October 1st. So not October 1st, August 1st. So let's just keep an eye out on that. But yeah, let's put a pin in some Suns talk. Uh, with the Cardinals, D Hop has gone to the Titans. Whatever. With so much to go into a contender and all that. So
Without a quarterback, I mean,
without a quarterback,
you know,
they're bringing back the Oilers
yeah,
uniforms, which is fucking dope. Yeah, so
yeah.
that's cool.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool. I know they did that like right when they moved over there. Like they had some weird. I had to pull it up, but they had some weird jerseys that were like because the color schemes changed and they moved this to the different state and city. But yeah, I mean, he took less money than what he had in his guaranteed deal that he had with us.
Mhm.
So per year. So like, I mean, it just didn't work out for him. And I remember we did a podcast after he got cut, and I was upset because I was just like, we just did this for nothing. But it kind of made sense in the long run because his value really wasn't there. They weren't going to get what they really wanted in the trade market for him. And he ended up on a team that it's not even going to matter. Like his stats won't even matter. It's not going to make a
Yeah.
difference.
I still kind of wish we kind of traded him for some bullshit. Like just
Yeah, I mean, it would have
something.
helped.
Yeah.
Like, but what do you think you're going to get for him? Like, honestly, like, I think the max you can get is maybe like a 4th rounder, given
Probably.
the contract. You're not going to get much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should try and get it, but like strategically too, like you got to think like who's asking for that? Like, are you going to do that in your own division? No. Are you going to do that like in your conference? Probably not. Are you going to do that to like with the Chiefs? Like that'd be fucking cheating for them if the Chiefs could do something like that, right? Or and obviously like I'm not talking about salary cap. I'm just saying like if like you wouldn't, it's just I don't know. Like he's going to Tennessee and it's not going to even make a difference.
Yeah. But a bunch of uniform announcements have happened in the last few days, which has been cool. The Cleveland Browns are doing their all white look, which I think is pretty nice. Um, yeah, the Oilers are doing their thing. I think Jacksonville is going to be announcing something different in the next couple weeks or so. Did you see the Colts one? It's like a
No, what's
black
it?
helmet.
They're doing
So it's
black
a
helmet.
yeah, it's black helmet with a like darker blue unis. It looks a lot like the Duke football uniforms.
Okay. I
Yeah,
mean, that's fine. Whatever. Like some of these
yeah,
teams are kind of locked in because their color schemes are so shitty, or
uh,
it's just like so basic. You know what I mean? Like Colts are basic, and the Browns are just shitty, dude. Like I've already said so much about the Browns jerseys and helmets on this podcast already so many times. So I'm not gonna like I saw it and I go, dude, this is like okay, like it's not even like a Division 2 like college football team. It's like Division 3 community college or something, in my
yeah.
opinion. It's
JUCO,
like it's
some
like high
shit.
school.
Yeah.
I think my high school has a better jersey than the Browns.
I do like the all white. Then the other one, the other two was Seattle's bringing back their old throwbacks,
I love
which,
those jerseys.
yeah,
I
I
love those
love
jerseys.
those so much. I love those so much. And then the Vikings too. They're bringing back their retro look, the Moss days, the yellow sleeve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're bringing those
That's
back,
cool.
and instead of the shiny helmet, it's matte. It's a matte purple tone, and it looks a lot
Yeah.
better with those jerseys. So,
Okay.
it's been a crazy week for uniforms and stuff. But hey, I mean, all of them are really, really nice. Cannot complain. Yeah, D-backs. I mean, they played great against the Braves, but then they just shit the bed against the Reds. I don't
Yeah.
really know what's going on with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch every game, but I try to observe as much as I can. And basically, what I'm seeing is like the offense has fallen off a cliff. They're still like extremely good defensively, but their bullpen is just terrible. And
Yeah,
even though I know they made this trade this week to get somebody in the bullpen, but like you know, they're not going to ever spend money this organization unless they change ownership again
mhm.
and get some sort of commitment to some stadium somewhere. I don't know, but like like if they were willing, if they had the money and they said, look, like let's go all in, let's get Shohei Ohtani, and we're not going to rent him, we're going to pay this dude. Like let's show we're serious. Maybe that can change the game, but I don't see any other deals out there that are really going to change the trajectory of what's happening. Like they're just a young team. They got hot early. They'll probably at some point at the end of the season get momentum again, but it's going to be too late because they're already like 4 games behind the Dodgers already again. So it's like,
Yeah.
they'll probably fall to like 7-8 games and then make a run, but it's going to be too late.
The Otani stuff has been pretty interesting reading. Gambo hasn't exactly shot it down yet, but it's. I would love to see Otani in a D-backs uni. I'll buy that jersey day one. Like
Dude,
I'm waiting to pull
you're
the
gonna have to
trigger on a Carroll one, but
like his contract is gonna break the world. Like actually
yeah,
no, it's not. The Kylian Mbappe one is, but his
yeah,
contract he's gonna ask for like he's probably gonna get like $75 million a year
yeah.
and they're probably gonna give him like 10 years,
Mm,
right?
that's
And I think
insane.
dude, but the insane part is Mbappe turned down, or I don't know if he turned it down, but he didn't sign a contract with Paris Saint-Germain for 10 years, 1 billion. He said he waited too long. He's like, let me think about this. Let me think about it. No, I still need more time. And they're like, nope, we're not going to sign this deal. But imagine that 10 years, 1 billion. That's where we're at now for
How
a
do you not
player.
say that?
Yeah.
I know, and that's fucking insane. But I'm not gonna cross my fingers or hold my breath about us getting Otani. As long as he
No,
doesn't go to like the powerhouses like Red Sox,
Dodgers.
Yankees, or Dodgers, like or Giants, or anything like that, I'm cool. But hey, well, let's fucking hope and pray. I mean, we have a bunch of superstars here already.
Yeah,
Um, but let's just go ahead and transition into
let's do it.
the main thing for tonight, the Barbenheimer movie weekend. I've never seen a movie weekend like this, like how pumped it was and how everybody was looking forward to it. And I've been waiting on Oppenheimer for at least a full calendar year once Nolan announced it. Um, are you a big Christopher Nolan guy?
I mean, he made one of my like top three all time movies, if not top two, The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
And then he made Inception, and yeah, I mean, and he made Memento, which actually like is
Memento's great. Yeah,
one of his underrated movies. I mean, I think Christopher and Dunkirk is not like one of my favorite movies. It's like one of the best movies I've seen though.
it's visually
Um,
beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, it's like scary. Like it's really
Mhm.
just puts you in like it's like Saving Private Ryan in a sense where
Yeah.
it's like doing it from a different perspective, or a different like set of people. But he's great. He is the best director in the world right now. He can't really mess up. When people hear his name, you know that it's going to be. It's like James Cameron was like 20 years ago, right? Or like 10 years ago,
Right.
15 years ago. It's just like, oh, James Cameron making a movie. That's all you need to know. Like, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter what it is. I'm gonna go see that thing because it's gonna be insane. And so that's where we're at with Nolan. So I'm all in on him all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I always like his movies because Tenet I didn't really like. In fact, I
Yeah. I
never
didn't like
finished it.
Tenet. Yeah.
I couldn't even finish it. Interstellar, I liked it, but it was hard to go back and rewatch it.
Mhm.
Um, Inception, I have it on Blu-ray. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and then all the Batman movies. I mean, he's great. Like he's great.
Yeah. Like, there's only a handful of directors now that like people go for the director name and not like then the cast comes second. Like Christopher Nolan, it's like an event. It's like a Tarantino release. You put Nolan on that tier, or if not above a Tarantino film. I mean, this is his 12th film. I've seen just about every one. I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked at the list, but I feel like I've seen every Christopher Nolan film. But Dunkirk is one of my favorites. Of course, the Batman trilogy. I mean, second to
Yeah.
none. Um, but what we're I want to hear from you first,
Well,
Oppenheimer.
okay. How about since I didn't see Barbie, why don't you give your
Okay,
like 2 minute review on Barbie? Tell me
okay,
what you thought. Try to why don't you try to convince me to go see it? How about that?
okay. So Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig. I'm a big fan of her work. She has a couple of smaller projects, Ladybug
Lady
and
Bird.
Lady Bird, and a couple of other little films. They're really good, really woman centric. I love seeing a different perspective with what she does and all. And I think she's a very funny writer, and I think she's just a very intelligent person. But well, yeah, let's just get into the cast. Of course, Margot Robbie, I think, is the perfect casting to play stereotypical Barbie. That's what her title is in the movie. That Ryan Gosling playing the main Ken, the Ken 2, Margot Robbie's Barbie. Then Will Ferrell playing the Mattel, CEO boss. He's sort of like the villain in the movie. He's not really a villain. He's just a funny sort of protagonist that's happening there. Have you seen Sex Education on Netflix?
No, no, I have
No.
not.
It's a great show. There's three actors from that show that are in here. Emma Mackey and two other people. I'm forgetting their name, but they're great. Michael Cera played Alan. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, fucking hilarious. And then Simu Liu, Shang-Chi playing the rival Ken to Ryan Gosling's Ken. This cast is absolutely loaded. I think everybody delivered. This movie went into a trajectory and subject matter that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And it's actually a lot more mature than I thought it was going to be. Um, it touched on, woman, like a lot of like womanhood stuff, what women deal with on a daily basis, the impact of Barbie for what it was coming out, and then how that message can be not received the same a little later on, uh, with the impact and stuff. Yeah, like is it feel like corny feel good? Yes. Is there lessons to be learned in this movie? Yes. Without spoiling much, I think just about everybody hit the nail on the head in this movie. It was very funny. It was very uh, entertaining. And for whatever reason, this is kind of like an awakening for Ryan Gosling haters. I think Ryan Gosling is a very, very good actor. Have you seen The Nice Guys?
No, but he was in no, yeah, I have seen Nice Guys. I
Yeah.
didn't really like that movie that much. To be
Really?
honest with you.
Oh man.
No, I didn't like it. But he was in another movie, was it called Driver?
Hmm.
Yeah, is that the one I'm thinking of? Driver. Yeah, he was
I
really
don't
good in
know if
that
it's
movie.
called Driver, but I've seen that one.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm talking
that one's
about, where
really good.
he's like a hitman or something,
Yeah,
or like I can't remember what. Yeah, but that movie was good.
yeah. Ryan Gosling, like he was so funny in this movie. I like everything about it. It was just fun. It was very well thought out. I know the woman that worked on this production crew and costume design and whatever else you can think of had an absolute blast putting this together because visually it's beautiful, and just the overall message is great. So, if you have a daughter, just know that she's gonna love it in 10 years if she's very young. I know my daughter will absolutely
Yeah,
love this and eat it up. So, and the promotional stuff for this movie too was great. Like it was
yeah.
like second to none. So,
You,
yeah, without
so
spoiling
as we're
anything, it was great.
so let's do this as a transition to Oppenheimer, because this is so I went to I saw Oppenheimer last night, 10 p.m. show, or no, sorry, 5 p.m. showing, standard. I didn't see it in like the 70 millimeter or IMAX. I just saw it regular. I went in there with like a buddy of mine got me like a hot pink like polo.
Mhm.
It's like a messy. It was like a messy shirt that he got me, Lionel Messi shirt, and he got it because like he's like Portuguese and he's like a big Ronaldo fan, so he got me this shirt. I don't know if he thought it was gonna be. I thought the intent that I thought he was being homophobic to get me like a hot pink shirt, thinking that I wouldn't wear it, but I absolutely wore it, and so I wore it into the theater for Oppenheimer, and like I went out to go get like some water or whatever, and even when I was in the theater, people were just confused. They're like, wait, is this the what movie? Like, are we in the right theater? Like they weren't sure, like like what the fuck I was doing. So that was fun. My wife is like, "You're terrible." I'm like, "Dude, this is fun. Like this messing with these people like this." But anyways, that was I wanted to just say that as we sort of blend into the Barbenheimer experience.
Real quick, this was not at all men hating. None of that was being uh, like I could see how people would say it's man hating because it does talk about patriarchy, but it also talks about the opposite end of that, the flip side to that coin too, with the matriarchy. So there's a blend of both. There's stuff for the guys in there. There's stuff for the ladies too. It's a good movie. It's a good watch. But all right, enough about Barbie. Oppenheimer. Did your company work on this movie at all?
That's a great question. I'm pretty sure we provided some sort of lighting and gripping to them, but in terms of like on our studio lots, I think everything was shot. It wasn't on any lots that I know of, on any
Okay.
lots that we own. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, dude, the lead up for this movie, like I've been waiting a whole fucking year. Uh, the cast absolutely loaded. Killian Murphy, kind of one of his first major like leading roles. And then Florence Pugh, Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Jack Quaid, Rami Malek, Matt Damon. The list goes on and on. Like you literally can't name everybody that was in this movie. Um, First thoughts, and I'll let you go first. I know you tweeted something out that you might have a unpopular opinion. So just lay it out. Just lay it out on me.
Yeah, so I saw the movie yesterday, and first of all, it was too long, right? Like I think it didn't capture me the way that like other movies do, where like it ends and you're like, oh man, like I was like looking at my watch, going, okay, like how long is this? Like this is already 2 hours in, and we haven't. And they're like now it was basically two movies. The first movie was development of the atomic bomb and like the aftermath, and then the second part was the whole like sort of procedural crime drama between Tony Stark and the other guy, right? Like, um, but so that was like it was like kind of two movies in a sense for me. So I think it is probably the most important movie that Christopher Nolan has ever made.
Mhm.
Um, is it his best movie? I don't think it is, but I think it's his most important movie because the themes in this movie were so like it was like the personal people that were involved in developing this thing, but then it was also like we developed this thing that can destroy humanity, and we're just kind of like, why are we like the Russians are doing this? And spoiler alert, like I'm gonna spoil the movie. There's no way I can't without. But it was just like the Russians, the Germans, like the hydrogen bomb. Like it's like if we start making a hydrogen bomb, then everyone's gonna make a hydrogen bomb. So do we do it or do we not do it? But for security, we kind of have to do it. So it's just like it just gets you thinking. And at the end, like I walked out of the theater and I go like, because of where we are, in terms of like Russia and war with the Ukraine, like we're like this close to like that situation, like a nuclear fallout. So how we push science to go to this point, and then we used it to make destructive things to win wars. And that was that was the other point from the other side, is that okay, we're going to make this bomb and it's going to end all wars. But if somebody else makes this bomb, then it's not going to end all wars, right? It's just going to end up in essentially like, mutual destruction. So like, but they needed to do it to end World War II. And like, here's the other thing. So that part, okay, I'm going into a little bit specific on like the themes and stuff, which are like, we can talk about that. But like the other things that like stood out to me was the fact that they were just running through people. Like if you were to, if you, the cast of this film, if you were to say compare to an NBA basketball team, like it would be like the dream team, like plus like 25 people. Like, you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't even be like, I was trying to think like, can you compare it to like our current Suns team? I'm like, no, because everybody is not a role player. Like you got like star people just coming in and giving you like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you had Rami Malek come in. He didn't do
Yeah.
anything for like 2/3 of the movie, and then he drops that thing at the end of the movie, which was like awesome. I think I saw Paul Giamatti. I saw a few other people that were like the guys interrogating him. That were I'm just like, these guys, like if you put just those two characters in a room or those two actors in a room, they could make a Academy Award winning scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like it was just like too many people. And the thing is that the way that they were talking so fast, they never gave us dates. They only told us timelines through like color palettes, so we didn't really know like what timeline we're on. And then at the end, they switched it to like one timeline, one color palette, so it screwed things up at the end. And then like I said, they were just like if you would have just said like at the bottom, like when somebody showed up and been like, okay, this guy is blah 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 scientist from here, like then we would understand, and I'd be able to capture it and be like, oh, when he's talking about that guy, and like later on, because he just brings up his name in a sentence to address like something, but it's not like you know what I'm talking about. Like it was just
Oh yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
clear who everybody was. It was just too quickly moving for that part. But so I mentioned that part. Then today I went and listened to a few podcasts while I was doing some errands and stuff that talk about the books that the movie was based on, and they cut a lot of actually really awesome stuff out of the movie. So the scene where he's about to poison him in the beginning with the apple, like that
Uh-huh.
actually happened. A lot of the scenes that were like they had very intentional people in it for like 2 minutes, like I said, like a big actor doing like a 2 minute scene. That scientist had an important role in this entire story. So they kept a lot of really important stuff in, and it's like word for word what happened. So that's awesome. But um, if like I didn't go in knowing that much about the movie or knowing much about Oppenheimer, I took my wife. She had no knowledge of anything, so she was like flying blind the whole way, and
Hmm.
we were both just like a little confused coming out.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I'm kind of a history buff. I knew about Robert J. Oppenheimer and everything that he's done. I've read a couple of uh, autobiographies and all that stuff, like about this guy and the whole Manhattan Project and all. So I knew a lot of the ins and outs of this sort of story. I never knew about Louis Strauss like that, and
Yeah,
the impact with what Robert Downey Jr.'s character plays. Yeah, I'll first start with the cast. Like, holy fuck,
yeah.
like. So, you probably didn't see it, but did you see Asteroid City, the Wes Anderson film?
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Yeah, okay, I haven't either, but that cast is loaded. Like
Yeah,
this cast puts that cast to shame. Like
yeah,
when it comes to like names and shit. And Nolan's just at the point where like people just want to be in the movie. You know,
yeah,
like you can just think of Jonah Hill in Wolf of Wall Street. Like he just wanted to be in a Scorsese film, and he's like, I'll fucking do it for 10 grand. Like I don't give a shit. You know,
yeah,
so. But yeah, dude, like the cast alone, like was pretty overwhelming. The like seeing Jack Quaid, like
yeah,
I totally forgot he was in the fucking movie, and just to see
yeah,
him, I'm like where's the compound V and shit. So I was just
yeah,
like waiting for something to happen. But me being the history guy that I am, I knew a lot about the story from uh, his upbringing to the whole process of the Trinity experiment and the after effects. I I would say this film is Nolan at his best and at his worst at the same time. And visually, it's a stunning movie. It's
yeah,
uh, like it hits the elements of social anxiety and guilt and jealousy, insecurity. Um,
yeah,
like just through camera work alone, that just like Killian Murphy's performance with expressing those emotions was great, and how they flesh those out in certain scenes, like when he's talking at the podium after they dropped the bomb and stuff, and he was talking, and like the audio cuts out and the camera's shaky. Like that whole scene was just like very like kind of overwhelming. And if I don't know if you deal with anxiety like that, but that's exactly how it feels, and it's
yeah,
that was a pretty surreal scene. Um, like I do agree with it being too long. It is 3 hours right on the dot. I feel like they could have cut 30 minutes out of this movie.
yeah,
It just more specifically in the beginning when he's going through like his trials and tribulations through the schooling and stuff. I don't think we necessarily needed that uh fleshed out for us. I would have rather just started with him just coming to America with bringing quantum physics to America, and I feel like that could have been a good jumping off point to roll out the movie instead of the whole Apple thing, and which was interesting. I knew about that whole Apple story and all, but I could have did without it in this film. But um,
Well, the thing is that so they showed elements of his like sort of like his mental like disabilities or issues or whatever was going on with him, but there
yeah,
was a lot more stuff that was left out, which really would have made that, because they it goes from like him being this genius, this person that's committed to doing this thing, and he does it, and then he has these regrets about it, and then he tries to turn himself into a martyr towards the end. But the part that makes it even more complex is that we see him where he tries to poison the guy with the apple. It's like a funny scene when you see it, but there's like a few other incidents where he tried to strangle a guy. He sexually assaulted this other lady on a train, like in some weird circumstances. Like it would have, and he had another affair that wasn't one of the 3 affairs that he had in the movie. So like, just if you would have shown him to be more complex than just like, oh yeah, he's kind of like a torture genius, and now whatever happens, like it would have been better to been like, okay, this guy's kind of fucked up to beginning, and like it wasn't just like he was just this all-American dude that decided to do this thing for the country. He was kind of a fucked up guy that was really smart, and he was kind of fucked up, like to do this, to be, you know what I mean? Like, because I don't know, like if you walk out of that movie theater, like you're going to go, Tony Stark was a bad guy, right? I'm going to keep saying that.
I know, it's so funny. Yeah, keep going.
Or Howard Stark. Maybe it was that time frame, in that timeline. It was Howard Stark.
It would be Howard Stark, yeah.
Yeah. So Howard Stark was there, and but like he becomes a bad guy, right? Like because all the stuff he did. But it's funny because like Truman says it in the movie. He's just like, "You ain't the motherfucker that dropped the bomb. I'm the one that dropped the bomb, dude." Yeah. Like, and he's like, "You ain't that dude. I'm that dude." And it's just like,
I'm him. Truman was like, "Get this pussy out of here, dog."
Yeah.
But no, like I totally agree. Like if they would have fleshed out more of the womanizing aspect that he had, him with his conflicting sort of personality and like his mental stuff, I think they did a good job with what they did in this movie, but they definitely could have did it a lot better. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I think it was just missed opportunities there for that part. I also, like I said, like here's the other thing. Like I think that it was 3 hours long, but like let's say like Amazon Prime, Apple Plus, they said, "Hey, Christopher Nolan, we want you to do a 10 episode series." Or 6, whatever, 6, let's say 6 episodes, limited series of this topic.
Yeah.
Maybe that's even better. Maybe the all-time greatest show of all time, rather than doing like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. No, fucking, yeah. Like, I wonder if there's going to be a director's cut of this that's even longer. Maybe it does dive into those elements that you were talking about, because I'm willing to watch this, but when I say this is sort of Nolan at his worst, ever since like Batman Rises, dude, like the audio is like so off when it comes to dialogue, and this movie is 99.8% dialogue, and there was points where I'm like, what the fuck did he say? And then like
100% happened to me too.
It was frustrating.
A lot of it is like where you're sitting in the theater, because if you're like not in like the middle, like center middle of the theater, like you're not going to be able to hear what the fuck is going on or understand it. We were sitting in like the top section and towards the middle, but it was like I kept telling my mom, like, what did you just say? Like I don't even know. Do you know what Albert Einstein, or when he talked to Albert Einstein at the very end, like what they said? Because I'm not even sure what they said. It was like it was all muffled.
So like Strauss thought that Oppenheimer was talking shit to about Strauss to Albert Einstein, but like literally the dialogue was just Killian told him is like you remember those formulas I showed you about how we can possibly like destroy the world and this stuff, like all this shit, and like Albert was basically confirming that thought, and it was just more him registering the aftermath and stuff. I fucking had the last line up here. I exited out of it, but Like they weren't talking about Strauss at all.
No, I
It
know
was
that, but he said something to him about like the formulas, and I can't remember. I couldn't understand if he said like you just ended the world. Like, did he say that you just ended the world
yeah,
or something?
yeah. It was something along that those lines. Yeah,
Yeah, dude,
yeah.
that's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Like the biggest what the fuck in the entire movie to me was like when they're about to do the test, and they're like, yeah, there's like a low chance that this could just destroy the entire planet,
Hmm.
and they were just like, okay, like
I would
it's
like it to be
uncomfortable.
zero.
It's uncomfortable. I'd like it to be zero, but we're still going
Yeah,
to do this test. We're not going to tell the president. We're just going to do it. Like
yeah.
that was like what? Like if that really happened, like that
Mhm.
is just fucking insane. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, like watching this just from a historical standpoint, these are fucking people at the end of the day, and so you have these people in positions of power that don't give a fuck. So like Truman, and like that one guy that was in that council meeting that was just like, "Oh, we can't bomb this city. We can't bomb
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Kyoto
yeah, yeah,
because me and my wife vacation there." And it's
yeah,
a beautiful town. Like just those elements, and then like the least problematic one was like, oh, it's close to zero. Like if we're talking
yeah,
about like just human
yeah.
elements in this, and like I would have loved to see them dropping the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, like, but this is through the perspective of Oppenheimer. Like he
It's the
wanted to
movie.
know.
It's his
Yeah,
name. His name's
yeah,
on the movie.
it's through his lens. I totally get it. That was a little gripe with me. I would have liked to see them load up Big Boy and Little Boy up into the planes, and take it from there. I would have loved to see some sort of effect in that, but again, this is through Oppenheimer's lens, and there's movies that show it anyway. So
Yeah,
I guess you can go to those, but yeah, look, the the best scene in this movie was probably the countdown. Uh,
yeah.
I was like holding my breath, and I didn't even realize it. Like I really haven't had like an experience like that before. Like if I felt like I was having a heart attack a bit, like a very mild heart attack. Like it was very very suspenseful, and the score was amazing in this movie. By the way, it was really really good.
Yeah, yeah, the guy is amazing. Yeah, so I guess I was prepped for because I like had a feeling that they were gonna make it silent. I just knew it was gonna be like a silent sequence.
Uh,
And like so like if you've seen Looper, right? Have you seen Looper?
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
So if you've seen it in the theater, it was like a whole that was like the first time where like there's like a full 60 seconds of just quiet. You know what I'm talking about? The scene where he like pulls the blood out of the other guy, the
Hmm.
kid.
Yeah,
So it was like I remember seeing that, and that was Ryan Johnson that did that, who
yeah.
did the same scene in The Last Jedi when they do the holdo maneuver and she like and it's like quiet, right? So like
Mm.
I was kind of prepped for this being something where there's not going to be any because if you added sound to this, then I feel like you're just like overwhelming the audience with like they're just going to be like whoa blown back. It's a like it's a jump scare rather than just like a let me like soak this in and see it and see the emotions and like see it. So like that's what I thought was really cool. I I don't know if it's like my most rewatchable scene. It was pretty uncomfortable given
Hmm.
like what was happening to everybody along in that movie. But it might be the most rewatchable scene though.
Yeah, for sure. That whole 5 minute sequence of them, prepare like prepping it up and stuff, and then seeing Josh Peck come in with the keys and he
Yeah.
turns it all on. And the silent element was really, really fucking cool because like I mean, it's on record. I mean, like when you drop a bomb of that magnitude, a hydrogen bomb, like like it goes with the speed of sound, and like you see the mushroom cloud. Hey, you want to know a fun fact, which is
Yeah.
kind of funny about bombs? So, do you know the expression "rule of thumb"?
Okay. Rule of thumb. Yeah.
Okay, do you know the context of that?
No. No, I
No,
do not.
it's very stupid, and a game is going to come to mind when when I tell you about this. So, when a nuclear blast happens or a bomb hits a city, depend like if to know if you're safe or not, you put your thumb up, and then if the mushroom cloud is over your thumb, you are too close to the bomb and you're about to get annihilated. But if your thumb just covers the whole blast, you're out of the zone of destruction. So,
Dude, you know how far you have to be then? Because like
yeah,
if you do
yeah,
that, is those mushroom clouds you said, well, it was like 10,000 or 100,000 feet in the air, something ridiculous.
hmm
Like you'd have to be in like another city, another state. Like, I don't
I
even know.
I think they were 30 miles away when they
I don't
dropped
even
the
think that's
Trinity.
far enough. 30
Yeah,
miles, like, dude, that's I don't know.
and do you know the game I'm talking about with the fucking with the rule of thumb thing? Fallout.
Fallout. I didn't play that one.
Oh no? Oh okay.
Oh, okay.
It's all good though. But yeah, the main character like deals with nukes and all that stuff, and then
Yeah.
he always gives a thumbs up, and that's where that expression's from.
Hmm.
But yeah, that whole scene was really really good. But like the performances were stellar. Like I think Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. or AKA Tony Stark are gonna get uh the the nods for
Howard Stark. Howard Stark. Yeah.
Howard
So
Howard
I want to
Stark
ask
for
you this
the
question.
awards.
I want
Yeah.
to ask you this question because um like I've seen all these and a lot of these guys are like they've been in a lot of Nolan movies already. So,
Uh,
Robert Downey Jr., he is one of the best actors that we have right now, bar
period.
none,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But he it wasn't like he like some of his roles that I've seen him in, like he does some amazing stuff. In fact, I will to this day I will die on the hill saying that Tropic Thunder was his best role
His
ever.
best role. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing comes close to Tropic Thunder.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like he did some amazing acting work, but that was like something else. Like he did blackface, got away with it, and it's
Yeah.
like a classic movie. Um, so when I saw him, like I didn't really see him doing anything that was like Iron Man was a whole nother character, right? But like it was kind of his own persona. This was like sort of in the same realm of him being like this like cocky dude. Um, Cillian Murphy too, like the same thing. Like the guy himself was like kind of like a weird guy. Like I don't know if you saw any interviews or like video of like Oppenheimer talking,
Oh
but
yeah.
like
He's a very like yeah.
he's just
He's a very
like he's just like whatever, right? So it
he's a
wasn't
fucking
like
dork. Like yeah.
yeah, like he has no presence. He has no screen presence. So that dude, and then Matt Damon. Like Matt Damon stole at the screen, but the problem is he was just Matt Damon. He wasn't,
Yeah. He was just
you
playing
know,
himself, and
he
that's
wasn't
best
doing
Matt
anything.
Damon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to think. I mean, my wife were trying to figure out like who was the best person. Was it Emily Blunt? Was she the best character? Was she the best actor in the movie?
I would say Jason Clark and Emily Blunt scene
Which
when
was
they're
Jason
like
Clark?
the lead interrogator, like the one that
Okay.
was like talking shit the whole time. Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
him and Emily Blunt scene was probably next to the whole Dead Nation scene when it comes to best scenes in the movie. I think their performances, if you're not going to give Killian or Howard Stark
Yeah.
their awards, and them too for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm saying, like this is my own opinion. Like you can if you couldn't if they ended up winning Academy Awards, I wouldn't have any problem with that. I'd be like,
Right? Yeah.
yeah, I have no problem with that. Like, like I think everybody, even like, Josh Hartnett was amazing. He was really
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I mean, there was so many. That's the thing. Like, you had people popping in for like a minute here, a minute there, and they were
Dude,
already Academy Awards. Who?
Dane DeHaan from
Yeah,
fucking yeah, like that was a surprise. I mean, just
yeah,
having Rami in here was crazy. They had fucking Roderick
yeah,
from Diary of the Wimpy Kid. Seeing Josh Peck was crazy. I saw him in the trailer and I was like, what the fuck? And
yeah,
then David this I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He was in Prisoners. He was the polka dot man in
yeah.
the new Suicide Squad movie. Then yeah, fucking Dylan Arnold. Then Mathis. I don't. Again, he has
You
like a
know what
German
this
last
movie
name.
was missing though, because it was a Christopher Nolan movie. the movie,
Uh,
it was missing Michael Caine. Where's
Michael
Michael Caine?
Caine. Michael Caine would have been so good in this movie.
He
He
could
could
have
have
played
played
one of those.
Strauss. He could have played
Yeah,
Strauss. Yeah, if he wanted to. Yeah.
that,
Oh,
or he could have been one of the British people, like
yeah.
I don't know. But either way, I mean, that's just nitpicking at this point. Like, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. He always has Michael Caine in the movie somewhere. He didn't have him in this
Yeah.
movie. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, no. So I think it's. I think everybody should see this movie. I think it's really important to understand it. Like, understand the decisions that these people had to make, the tremendous pressure that they were under from their own personal morality versus like what was good for the world,
Mm.
and making these decisions. And like, it was like, did you notice at the end that it kind of like the movie ended with like a nuclear holocaust? Like, it was just
Yeah.
like they kind of like it was like kind of hint, like they did it subtly and then it went to like another scene, but I was just like, they just showed the world blowing up. Like,
Yeah.
it
I mean,
was
it
like,
like I left the movie, which I think was the intention, feeling like sort of scared because like
yeah,
we just go day to day, not really think about shit like this. But
yeah,
people that lived in the 80s remember when like fucking Russia like pulled up essentially off our coast and was just aiming like
yeah,
like fucking nukes at us. And
yeah,
like I hate how the US plays world police like politically, but it's
yeah,
kind of necessary.
yeah.
um the whole arms race is a very interesting thing to read about. I wish it wasn't a thing, but this movie is a fucking thriller. It's horrific. It's seeing a guy that was already mentally unstable become even more mentally unstable, and
Yeah.
this is just a deep dive into a guy's thinking, and you just see his emotions like fleshed out in many different ways, and there's rarely any smiling. There's rarely
Well,
any joy
that's the thing.
like in
That's
this
the thing.
movie.
Like, so you mentioned it here, and you're like a history buff, but like when I watched it, I didn't really feel like the guy was mentally unstable. I feel like he had a lot of things going on, and
Yeah,
he was trying to weigh them through. They made his wife look more mentally unstable than he did. They made
yeah,
his mistress obviously was fucking. She committed suicide. So like, I wish that was part of the movie where we could understand that this dude was actually a little bit more crazier than them, maybe potentially.
yeah.
Right? We didn't see that, and I wonder, like, people walking out of the theater, if they thought like, oh, this dude was just, he was just a badass, or if they walk out and go like, maybe there's more to like what I don't know, like, what do you think? Because I came out, I had to read about it and understand that this guy was really just like, the fact that they even let this guy lead this entire program is wild,
It's pretty insane.
considering
Yeah,
all, like, you know that's one thing, but the fact that, like, with all the mental stuff, talking about like the more like the communist stuff,
mm.
that his ties to things, like,
Oh yeah, we
just a
didn't
lot of
even talk
questionable
about
decisions,
that. Yeah, yeah.
right? Like, but the mental stability part is a whole nother thing. And so, like, what do you think people walk into the theater think after seeing this? Like, do they think of him as being mentally unstable or no?
Probably leaving the theater. No, probably he lost his way like after they dropped the bombs. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, me personally, I knew his life, so I knew from kind of like the get go he wasn't necessarily all the way there. But me leaving the theater, it took a good like half day to like register all of it, just
Yeah.
like the movie in general, because it's just loaded with visuals and audio and fucking like explosions and dialogue. I just needed to digest it. I really haven't watched people's reviews about it, but like I think Nolan did a great job in this. I think he kind of did what he wanted to do, and I think it turned out to be a beautiful movie. Originally I had the 70 millimeter tickets in Tempe at Arizona Mills, but my
Okay.
fucking they bounced my shit like a week before the show, so I had to like figure something out and try to get some decent seats for the
Yeah.
AMC at Westgate. and I really wanted to experience the whole thing, but the me missing dialogue really kind of fucked up the movie for me. Just it
Yeah.
was low at one point, it was high at some points. I just feel like I missed a lot. Um, I really want to watch this when it comes to like streaming, and I can hit on captions and stuff and just go
Yeah.
along with it because I feel like it'll make this movie so much more digestible,
Yeah.
just for an average consumer. Uh, this isn't my girlfriend's lane in of movies, dialogue heavy. So she fell asleep, she was bored, all that stuff. I totally get it. For people that really love film, I think are going to get a kick out of this, especially big Nolan fans. I think they're going to love this movie. I think to an average sort of consumer that dabbles in a wide variety of movies and is pretty open to stuff, I can't necessarily recommend this movie to somebody if
Yeah.
just because of how jam packed it is. And I think the pacing is really good in this movie. It's just a lot, and it's like understanding all of these names, all these other physicists, understanding the the emotional impact and the severity of the situations that are portrayed. Like, why do I give a fuck about Florence Pugh's character when she only maybe has like 4 minutes of on screen time, but then what she does impacts the story later,
Yeah.
and then you miss some fucking dialogue because you couldn't necessarily
Yeah.
hear it. So there was a lot of that shit. So like I can't recommend this movie to somebody, but see it while it's in theaters, man. Like try to get right in the middle of the fucking theater and just get the full experience because when the bomb hits, like it's loud. Like when you get through like the white noise and all that.
Yeah, I think they really missed an opportunity if they would have just told us people names and like locations or like given us dates and times. Even if it was like because it could build tension too, right? Like if you say like um 33 days away from whatever, right? Like
Mhm.
Hitler committing suicide or something. Like just getting a perspective like within the world, like what is actually happening because they just keep bouncing around and we're just like, okay, well, this guy didn't like what you're gonna do, so this guy talked shit about you on to this guy. Now you have this problem with this guy. I was like trying to like figure out who are they talking about. Like halfway through the movie, my wife is like, Strauss is Robert Downey Jr., right? And I'm like, yeah, Howard Stark, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, like I some sort of calendar would have been nice because like you go through like the start of Los Alamos to the like when they drop the Trinity, and it's like a 2 year fucking like process, and it happens in a matter of like 45 minutes, and like you never really know like where you're at in the process. The only thing you have for sample size is like the marbles in the
Yeah,
like in
right.
the bowl and stuff. Yeah,
Which
that's
is
the only
which is
time thing you have.
which is what and I'm glad like they did that. Like that was like a choice to do that rather than the other thing for that particular part of the movie.
Right.
But it didn't serve the rest of the movie because like even the part where like him and his brother were like in Los Alamos, like on the ranch or whatever. I'm like
No.
trying to figure out like when the fuck like when is this happening? When was this? Do you even know when that happened? Like what part of the time period where him and his brother were like, oh, this is a really cool place. We should blow this shit up. Like I didn't even it just came out of nowhere, that part.
Yeah, like I know what scene you're talking about too, but I know it mentioned something beforehand about it. Yeah, no, I'm spacing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It just that part, like there was just certain things, like if we just knew clearly like what was in what time period and who was who, and then you can build tension with other sort of things. It's not going to take away from the I think the movie experience. I think it's a lot of movies they do this where they like think the audience is stupid, so they'll just tell them a lot of stuff or expose it through like the dialogue. Um, this movie actually did that. This movie exposed a lot of shit through dialogue because things were happening really fast,
Uh,
but it didn't give the audience a chance to like even like go back and remember or comprehend like what the fuck you're talking about.
I really wonder if there's a director's cut of this that is going to come out in the future. That
I mean,
maybe
dude,
maybe adds like 20 minutes of context or something. Because
yeah, I feel like
that
I feel like if anything, it's gonna be like an hour longer.
yeah, I mean, shit. If it answers some of our critiques and kind of
Yeah,
justifies it, I mean, I'm willing to sit through it, you know.
yeah,
But I think overall, I mean, I think this is a very pivotal movie when it comes to like cinema and all.
yeah,
Again, I think this is Nolan at his best and worst. I don't think it's his best film, but if someone says is if this is his like worst, I'll definitely push back on it. It's definitely not his worst. Um, the movie's visually beautiful. The pacing is really good. The editing was like really good too. It was very seamless. Um, the score incredible. There's so many good elements in this. It was just it was just so heavy, and just with the not necessarily the context, but the stuff that was being thrown in there, and like registering with the amount of characters that are being thrown at us. It's pretty heavy to start with. It's kind of like when you first start Game of Thrones and you're trying to
yeah.
like learn like all the
All the
families and shit,
houses and everything. Yeah,
all the houses. Like there's like 18 people that drop in your lap and you're trying to fucking figure it out. So
yeah,
when you're going through most of the movie trying to do that, and that takes away from a good portion of the movie, especially in the beginning when you kind of need to know these people off rip. But
yeah,
I think from a historical standpoint of accuracy, I think it's pretty on par with everything that I've read about him, and I I I think it's a really good movie. I think if I had to rate it out of 10, I'll probably give it 7.5, low 8, probably.
yeah,
I really want to watch it with subtitles, and I think I can give a more definitive answer about it because I missed a lot of what Albert Einstein said. I missed a lot of what some of Howard Stark's lawyers were saying, just because there
yeah,
was fucking the loud ass cameras going
yeah,
off and
yeah.
people talking and walking through crowds and shit. Like there was a lot of missing dialogue and that I wish I would have picked up, but I just didn't hear it. But I think my score for this would be 7.5, low 8. I think it's a
Mhm.
really good movie. I wouldn't recommend it to somebody like, oh, you got to watch it. I'll probably throw Dunkirk or Memento or even Dark Knight as the Nolan examples. Interstellar too, or Inception.
Yeah, I think this movie, like I said, I think it's probably his most important movie that he's made because of like the narrative that is it, or the themes of it in terms of how it implies to our current situation in the world. But um, and in terms of like so basically it's a biopic, right? So it's a biopic.
Yeah,
In terms of
essentially.
biopics are always like they're like, yeah, it
Whatever.
was entertaining, but like they've missed a lot of stuff in it. Like the like Ray like is one of my favorite ones, where Jamie Foxx plays Ray Charles. That one's awesome, but it's not entirely accurate at all. It has some
Oh,
moments of accuracy, but it doesn't have a lot. This is one of those ones where it's probably 97% accurate.
yeah,
And because it's based off two books, and then it's based off another subset of books that were off those books. So like it's like the scenes that you see were like, oh, well, did that woman really commit suicide? Was her body found that way? Yes, that's how it was done. Um, you know, did that guy come Chevalier? Did he come to him and talk to him about like defecting to the Soviet Union? Yes, that happened. Like all these things happened almost word for word. It's almost like we own this city or we run the city that
yeah, yeah,
it's like literally they took the transcript and like this is exactly what happened. It's almost that, right? The only thing is that some of the emotion and understanding of like the context of like all the other sort of relationships and situations that bind these people together and how that impacts like how they make the decisions. That was some of that was sort of like inferred from like all the the books and everything because nobody was there when it happened.
yeah.
But in terms of biopics, like this is the goat biopic. I'm trying to think of like a better biopic than this movie where it like was
I
literally
I can tell you
go
the
ahead.
worst. I can tell you the worst. The most recent Marilyn Monroe one, the one with Ana de Armas,
Yeah. Yeah.
that one pissed me the fuck off because I didn't know like going in that it was based off a fictional story tale about Marilyn Monroe, and I was really excited to see Ana de Armas play that role. Whoever her fucking agent is needs to be fired because they keep on
Dude,
putting her in bullshit.
and I saw that, and there was two things that bothered me. One, her accent, like she's just speaking Spanish basically the whole movie. Like her
Right?
accent is going
Yeah,
in all the time. And then two, it was like horror porn. Like it was some sort of like
yeah. Dude,
weird, like,
the first scene, it's like
yeah.
it just starts, and it's like, what the fuck, you know?
Like all we hear, like all that movie, I take away and I go like Marilyn Monroe was just abused the entire time. Like she had no agency in her entire career and life, being in Hollywood. And
Uh,
like maybe if that's true, fine. But like it didn't seem, I don't know. It wasn't good. It was,
it was
you're right.
it was
Yeah.
completely fictional. That whole story was literally 100% fake. Like
Yeah.
there was nothing real about that happened. Oh, like probably some of it happened to Marilyn Monroe, but it was nothing at all of what I've read about her story and upbringing and all that stuff. And the book that they based it off of was fucking like like that shit infuriated me. Like
Yeah.
I like how bad. Yeah, it was basically torture porn. Hey,
Yeah.
if it's
But
your
like,
thing, check it out.
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But this is definitely the go to biopics for sure. Like
yeah.
I'll definitely like meet you there.
Yeah. And I think it was and this is what like Christopher Nolan does because he did it with Batman, where he took like sort of a action comic book story with a crime procedural and made like The Dark Knight, where it was
Uh-huh.
like it wasn't just one thing; it was like these two elements coming together. And he does that a lot with a lot of his movies. And I felt like this was the same thing, where it was like a biopic, but then it was also like this really important story, blockbuster action crime procedural, sort of whatever you want to call it. But it was this really important story to understand, like how we got to this point with the atomic era in our history. So like it would like it kind of merged those things together in a really awesome way, I thought.
Mm. No, totally agree. What would the score you give it be?
Um, so if you asked me last night, I would have said like an 8, and
Mhm.
an 8 would have been like my expectation of the movie being like a 10.
Right. Yeah.
So I came out and I was just like, man, it wasn't the best. But thinking about it more and more, like it's creeping up to like 8.5 and probably higher.
That's fair.
Um,
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know if I have the time to go back in the theater and see it in 7 millimeter the way that he intended to make it
Mhm.
for like 3 hours. Like I don't. My wife is like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit, and I'm like, well, if I had to do it on my own, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. So like, yeah, I mean, I think over time it's going to do a lot better than when it came out in the theater.
Yeah. Um, hopefully they add subtitles to it sooner than
Yes.
later, just so I can do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think we could close it out there. But yeah, before we wrap it up, I went to the cinema for the Barbie movie and picked myself up a 10.
Yep.
August 2nd, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie
Yeah.
comes out. I can't fucking wait for it.
Yeah.
$10, dude. Well,
Yeah.
look how cool this fucking thing is.
You
Are you a
gotta,
big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan?
what's that?
Are you a big Turtles
Oh,
fan?
yeah. I grew up on the original cartoon, the first cartoon. Dude, there's so many variations of this stuff. If you go on Netflix, like for my
Uh,
son, like, and if you remember, like 10 years ago when Megan Fox was April Knight,
yeah.
um, and like, but the it was like all like CGI. It was just it was bad.
Uh,
Um, and even the movies, like the original movies, like those are my jam, dude. Those original movies with goddamn, what's that guy's name? The rapper, the white Vanilla Ice.
mm,
Like he was in the second one. Um, those are my movies, dude. Those that was like my I love those dudes. Um, all the stuff that they made between that period and then like up until now was just been a lot of just the they're supposed to be teenagers, but they treat them like they're adults,
Yeah.
or it's like way more serious than it has to be. You know,
Mhm.
it's like fucking like Avengers or something. Like there doesn't have to be like this, like, you know, Thanos is coming sort of thing.
Right.
Um, so I like that when I saw the trailer that it was like you could tell that these dudes are just like kids, like they're
Mhm.
literally like fucking around teenage kids. And so we don't know what's going to happen because they're teenagers. And you never know what teenagers are going to do. And I love it because when I first saw the trailer, the full trailer was when I was watching Across the Spider-Verse, and I was like, this is like perfect for this. Like
Mhm.
the audience that's watching this movie is going to just drive over to this movie
Yeah.
because it's just the same like whole thing. Like it's just a teenage kid trying to figure it out. He's not perfect. He's not mature, but you know he's got something in him that makes him like a superhero. And so that this is what this movie is going to be like. So dude, I am so excited for this movie. I'm going to take my son. My brother's going to come. I have a few of my other friends going to come with us. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I ordered the Last Ronin comic, so I'm waiting on that. One of my favorite reads, just from a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle perspective. I like. Have you read the Last Ronin?
I didn't
No.
read any comics, bro. I've only seen the
Uh,
cartoon and those like first the live action movies.
the Last Ronin is a very serious, sad, fucking read. If you're ever curious about it, I mean, there's tons of YouTube videos about it. But yeah, I'm really excited for this movie. The animation is stellar, and then yeah, they're
Yeah.
fucking kids and they're figuring it out. Jackie Chan as Splinter. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's so awesome.
that's so cool, right? And they're dealing with more of the obscure sort of villains in the Turtles universe. With
Yeah.
Ice Cube playing that fucking fly lobster motherfucker, and then
Yeah.
they have um, God, I'm spacing out on all the names. I fucking knew him like 20 minutes ago, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're dealing with all the other mutants around the city and stuff, which I really can't wait for that. But what did you think of Across the Spider Verse? Because you didn't tell me that you finally saw it.
Yeah. Yeah, we never got a chance to talk about it. It was better than Into the Spider. The only negative thing I could say about the movie is the way it ended because
Yeah,
honestly
yeah,
when I was watching it, I was like, I think they could probably finish this movie in 30 minutes. Like I don't know how they're gonna extend. No,
yeah,
like honestly, like I
for
don't know
sure.
if
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like how are they gonna make a whole nother movie? Like, are they just gonna be like, you know, his doppelganger is gonna be his like enemy for 3 hours?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if that's gonna work.
I don't think Evil Miles is going to be necessarily a villain. I think the Prowler sort of becomes sort of like the vigilante sort of type in that universe, like live and protect instead of like a Spider-Man figure within that universe.
Yeah, so if that's
But
what they're doing, they could have finished that in the last movie with like 20 more minutes.
yeah, like I think that's what pissed like everybody off because of that same exact thought. Like I thought they could have finished it in 30 minutes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I like, but it left me wanting more. And
yeah,
I
for
can't,
sure.
yeah, I can't wait till next year for it. But yeah, dude, like that movie was so fucking good.
Yeah.
It was so good. Um, like, what would you rank that movie before we get out of
Oh,
here? Like,
that movie was like a 9.5, easy.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
and the half being
I
the
was
ending,
watching. What's that?
and the half being like how it ended. Like I would
No,
say,
yeah, I mean, like there was just some weird stuff, like you know, like they just you have to like accept it for the movie, like oh they can just jump in through different worlds and like it's just so like open and like anything is possible that you just kind of have to accept that anything can happen, right? Um, but I just I was watching the music video to Annihilate
mhm.
the other day, and I'm like, dude, I want to go see this movie again. And my son actually went and saw it again. Him and I saw it, and then he went and saw it with my mom in Arizona today. And this guy, like, he already got to see it twice. I really want to see it again. But yeah, it's like one of those movies. I don't know what it is about it. If it's like just a Spider-Man character or Miles, or that it's like the best parts of, it's like every best part of like any sort of sci-fi comic book, anything. Like it's just like you've seen Kick-Ass, right?
Oh yeah, dude. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Kick-Ass, like when you first watch Kick-Ass, you're like, this is so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And like it has like that element where you're like, there's just something so cool about this. And I don't know what it is, but there's so many parts to it that it pulls from that you're just like, I love, like, you can't say anything bad about it. Like an adult watching a cartoon, a kid watching a cartoon, like anybody could watch that and be like, this is awesome. Like I've never heard anybody say that Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse is bad. Or even like,
not one,
or like, not one. Or it was like a rip off of something else. Like I've never heard anybody say that.
It's so original, and it's like it's so like grounded and like and like Hobie Brown, like Daniel Kaluuya playing Spider-Punk and all, like that animation was so fucking cool. And
who was your favorite Spider-Man?
Dude, I don't want to be a basic bitch, but like Spider-Punk was like fucking dope. 2099 was sick. They had I don't know if you saw in the movie, they had the Spider-Man popsicle swinging when they were chasing. Yeah, like I saw it in the theater, and I was fucking dying. But God, I'll probably go Spider-Punk.
Yeah,
because the animation alone was like so cool. It was so cool. What about what about you?
My son. So my son, the first one he said was T-Rex, which was because it's hilarious. So fucking weird. It's just
fucking hilarious.
Yeah. So T-Rex was his number one, and then number two was Spider-Punk. For me, it was definitely Indian Spider-Man, because that was like that was cool. Something that mattered to me. And then number two was Miguel O'Hara, 2099 Spider-Man. Like those are my favorite ones.
2099, like he just fucking ripped. And oh dude, Andy Samberg playing Scarlet Scarlet Spider. He looked fucking great, and that was funny. Dude, that movie was so loaded. It was so overwhelming. It was so good. And like when it ended, everyone's like, literally everyone was like, oh, like everyone was pissed that it ended. It just like I haven't had like a movie experience like that since probably Infinity War, when just like everybody lost and everyone's like, what the fuck? But but no, insane. Then quickly, you probably saw the set photos for Deadpool and Wolverine. What do you think of the Wolverine suit?
Dude, I'm so confused because like Deadpool operates in this like R-rated genre, and like all these other movies are like PG-13. So like if you're gonna pull in like the big hitters, like the big time like Marvel people into this, the X-Men people into this, like I don't understand how are you gonna make like the same sort of Deadpool movie?
I do. I have a theory, and I've had this for a while. I wanted to talk to you about this.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be based off this right here. Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, but I think he's going to kill the old Fox X-Men universe by not the First Class crew, but like everybody before. Yeah. So I think.
But didn't all of them die though in X-Men 3? Most of them did, right?
I believe so, but they're going to be time hopping because at the end of Deadpool 2, he has Cable's time thing, and like he started killing people and stuff. So I think the time people from the Loki series are gonna talk to him about maybe possibly working with him or correcting things, and then I think that's how he's gonna come across Wolverine in his yellow suit in a
Hmm.
different sort of dimension. Because you probably saw the 20th Century Fox thing, like broken, like in the ground and
Yeah.
stuff. I think they're gonna do like some Planet of the Apes sort of like funny fucking thing with it, like the Statue of Liberty when he found it, like no, like do
Yeah.
like a whole like yelling scene.
That'd be
But
cool.
yeah, like I'm really curious how they're gonna do this, and with the writer strike, I mean, hopefully they can figure out all the nitty gritty details just off the
Well, I
book.
mean,
But
as of now, the production shut down, and
yeah,
they were one of the few active productions that had to shut down. So, like, I mean, when was that movie scheduled to come out?
it was supposed to be, I think, next year.
So it's probably gonna be 2025.
Yeah, probably. Which
Yeah,
I'm totally cool with. I'm totally cool with. Like, as long as it's good and I get to see Hugh Jackman in the full
yeah,
97 yellow uh, costume, I'm all for it, dude. I mean, the costume looks great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll see a lot of those characters. That was one of my favorite cartoons of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, uh, do you know what it's on? Like, I've been kind of wanting to watch it, but I haven't like looked to see where I can watch it
Um,
at.
I think you can find bootleg stuff on YouTube.
Probably.
I whenever I want to, like, I think I just go to YouTube and find it. I've never actually looked and seen if anybody carries it. It was a Fox property, so it might. And now, if it's Marvel, it could be under Disney, but I doubt it. I'm
It
the only
says
other.
Disney. Is it Disney? It
The
says
only
Disney.
it does. The only other place maybe is like a Sony doesn't have like a streamer, do they?
No, no, they
No.
don't.
So where does their stuff usually falls into, like, Prime, right? So maybe on Prime. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Like what's funny is when you look at like what major television companies made the most money, and it's always Sony because they don't have a streaming service because like
Yeah.
streaming services don't make money. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's how I know Sony doesn't have one. But their properties fall within, yeah, I believe like HBO and all that stuff. So I think most of their stuff kind of goes in through there.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah. Well,
if it's
yeah,
on
we
Disney, I'm gonna watch it.
yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, if we at some point, if we have time during the summer, I could give you a good breakdown on what's going on with the strike, because, like, I have a lot of insider info, and talked to a lot of people, and it's just the whole thing is a lot more complicated than people really know. That the general public knows what it is, but maybe we can do that sometime.
Yeah, I would love to know. I would love the insight. I just heard Bob Iger talking shit. I'm glad
Yeah,
he's
he
not
didn't
our
lose.
owner. Yeah, so
Yeah. Mm.
but like the whole AI conversation is a kind of a scary subject. I just hope we're not pivoting into a direction where we're taking out the human element. I think that's really stupid for companies to even think that way.
Yeah,
As
I
a,
mean, really, like, the short term sort of decision maker and pivot point is really comes down to Netflix. They
yeah,
basically created this economy the way it is, and they're the ones that have the least to lose. Like Disney, everybody else has a lot to lose because they went to battle with Netflix and created these streamers, and they just simply don't have the level of the breadth of content to compete with them, and they at some point they're gonna have to cave in, and everyone's gonna go to Netflix and be like, "Mail, you got to cave," and they don't have to. They got so much content already in the like coming out. It's not going to hit their books. They're not going to lose their subscribers the way the other people will. They have a broader international audience, bigger than any of the other subscribers, so they're not worried. They're straight. So they're just gonna, they're gonna go and do it as long as they can. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, Netflix has been on some shit the last, like in the last year or two with like changing the whole subscription thing with
Yeah,
like, yeah, you can't like share like, you're supposed to. We're gonna raise the prices. We're gonna cut back on Netflix originals. Like they're doing a lot of movement, and yeah, to hear you say that, I didn't even like have Netflix in my mind about them being sort of like the top dogs right now, even though it's kind of obvious. But
yeah,
um, it's funny because Black Mirror just came out with a new season, and like one of the episodes literally talks about how like TV shows, like this one specific episode, it's called like Everybody Hates Joan or something, or
yeah,
Joan
yeah,
is
yeah. I know what you're
awful.
talking. Yeah,
Yeah, like it came out before even the first strike first started, and it's literally about using AI
yeah,
faces to like draw out shows and television and all that stuff. And like, what do you know? That's like one of the subject matters in this whole
yeah.
thing.
I mean, that's. I mean, that was such a perfect episode, dude. That because it like literally encapsulated that topic. Like, how like who gets the rights to AI when it determines your likeness and turns it into somebody else, and all the derivatives of like that sort of thing. Like, it's just a whole thing's a mess. But anyways, dog, let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Shout out A24 for accepting all the terms and stuff. They're still going to
Yeah,
do their thing, but we're going to be coming back with more Suns content when Evan's with us and all that. We'll be here for all the news and breakdowns and all that stuff. And yeah, thanks for everybody that joined in. It's a later show, but we appreciate the views. Leave a like, subscribe, check out the Arizona Sports Underground page, and follow us on socials at the He's on Fire podcast Twitter and the Arizona Sports Underground Twitter. And follow us there, subscribe to anywhere, and we'll just boogie out of here. Ahmed, have a great night. We'll stay
you
in
too.
touch, man.
All right, man.
All right,
Later.
have a good one.